Hey everyone. So if you run an agency, you know that creating invoice, knowing how much to pay your employees, doing the breakdown on how much time was spent on each task for your clients, handling fixed price project or hourly based project can get very confusing. It's easy to have stuff fall between the cracks. Um, so at least that's what I found when I started my agency. And this video shows basically I will show you how I solved this issue um, using what we know how to do best, which is data pipelines and dashboard. All right, so let's get to it. So over here we have a very simple dashboard, two tables, couple of scorecard, and let me show you how it works. So to beginning, if I select every clients over here, let's say for the month of January, I would go to each employee and know how much each employee should be paid. So it's the time track total times their salary. This would give me their number, the how much I should be paying them, right? And if I need to create an invoice for a customer, I would select the client, for example. In this case, this is a fixed price project, so we have the total here of how much we should charge them and the breakdown of every task and the time spent on every task. So I know how much I spent in salary, paid remuneration for this project. I know my gross profit margin. I know the average hourly rate we've made on this project and the gross profit. So that's really cool, very helpful. If I need to do a breakdown of the invoice, I have all the tasks here, or I can break it down by tags if I don't want the invoice to be too complicated, right? So I can do that for every client, and this is a massive time saver. I could even, if I wanted to, connect that to QuickBooks and automate the whole process. So let me show you how this works, high level. So we have this thing over here. We have a Google Sheet. I have ClickUp, project management tool, right? So everything is in there. It has a time tracking functionality, and this is what we use to track the time for each task, right? So this would work with Monday, Rike, Asana. As long as you have a time tracking app and an API, this works. We send that data to Google BigQuery. And then in BigQuery, we combine that data with a input sheets that we have. So over here, I can place the salary of each of my employees. And there's a cool functionality in here. If I change the salary of an employee, we have a snapshot feature. So it will only, the new salary will only affect the data moving forward. It won't change historical data. So if the salary changed from $50 an hour to 75, for example, only the new data coming in, the new time tracked, will have this new salary. So we won't change historical data. So we place the salaries over here. We have the client's rates. So if it's per hour, we set the salary, we set the how much we charge them per hour and the currency. And again, this also has a snapshot feature. And if it's a fixed price project, then in your project management tool, you create a custom field, you input the price of the project, and the moment we see a project price, we don't calculate the hourly rate. So it means that you could have a client that has both a fixed price project and hourly rate, and the system would still be able to handle that, which is really cool, and this has been very useful for us. And lastly, we have this thing here. We also have a retainer. We have a support retainer and a bigger retainer that also has data analytics in it, business intelligence. So depending on the package, it's a different price. So if the monthly package is still active at the beginning of each month, this would be added to our dashboard as revenue, and every task completed in that package we would not consider the hourly rate, since it is already been paid for using the monthly retainer cost, right? And it also has this retainer status, which when someone churn, you can just set that to inactive, and the circle data will still be there, but we won't be calculating the retainer moving forward. So this also has been very useful. And again, this works with any system. So if you run an agency and you don't already have that under control, and this is something that you think would be useful for you, just let me know, because we could help you implement this. And if I have enough interest, I'll also create a guide on how to implement this solution in more details. And we have a bunch of other dashboard also if you're interested in that. Efficiency, so since we have the time tracked per each employee, and we have the time estimate and the due date, we know which employee tend to go over the time estimate. We know if our time estimate are any good, if everyone always go over or under. This helps us figure out what's the right time estimate for each task. We know if some employee has a tendencies to go over the due date and stuff like that, right? One last thing that I forgot to mention, yeah, you could connect that also to QuickBooks and generate the invoice automatically. So if you feel like your project management is accurate and you always input everything correctly and you won't have to do any custom modification, you could automatically generate the invoice and automatically send them, or hybrid solution, right? You automatically generate the invoice, review them in QuickBooks manually. If they're good, you send them. So hopefully this gives you idea of what is possible to do with your time tracker and a simple Google Sheets. And if you're interested in learning more, let me know I don't know where you're going to see this, in the comments, or send me an email at eric@systematic.ca. And yeah, it's going to be a pleasure to help you out with this and give you a bit more information. All right, cheers.